Hi. What I wanted to start off this video with was something negative. um, and I feel that um, I wish I knew how everybody got treated. Um, I'm being bullied by my neighbours. Okay, I don't really want to go down that road, to be honest. But I guess that anybody who is trying to better themselves, you, me, anybody, trying to live a good life, trying to follow like the social rules. I mean, clearly I don't follow the social rules because like I'm transgender, but in every other way I do follow the social rules. Because they're there for a reason, and it's like don't steal, don't be violent, don't be verbally abusive. I get a lot of it off Tumblr. I was on these blogs, and there was a short time where like there was a lot of comments saying be kind, and I know that is something I could work on because I got pissed off and I cut someone out of my life, and I didn't want to talk to him, and but he was persistent, and he kept ringing me up, and I listened, and I found out that I had taken the situation for something that it wasn't. And I really like communication. I really do. I think it's a wonderful time that we live in, where if someone bothers you, you can just communicate to them and say, look, what you're saying has bothered me. Where exactly are you coming from, I'm holding that about every year I go through a period of maximum stress where I feel like everybody is getting to me, everybody is being mean to me. And the fact is that they are, because it's because of my brain chemistry. Every year my glutamate levels go right up, and when people see someone like that, they think victim, because glutamate levels are like a fear hormone, and if I'm in fear when I get on the bus, I will get nasty comments off of people. Anyway, I don't want to go down that road, to be honest. I'm getting more and more, just like I took what Khan said, or what Khan did, I took it the wrong way. I feel like my awareness is growing and that I'm having more of an awareness that, I mean, I don't know where I picked it up from, that people are malicious. I don't know where I picked it up from. I mean, some people clearly are. You know, I mean, I was bullied by my neighbour. He called me a name that you should never call anyone. And I was offended. But he's, to be honest, he's not very bright, because if he was, he would talk to me and he would say, like, I believe you are this kind of person, you know. How do you feel about that? And sort of start a dialogue, you know, but he's not very bright, and he just, that's all I can say really, he's just not very bright. And I think it's relevant to say that he knocked out his girlfriend, which speaks volumes. It speaks very strongly to what kind of person he is. But I want to get away from that. I want to get towards I feel very chill. I feel like it's difficult, you see, because I used to get crazy comments off people when my glutamate levels were really high. I used to get crazy comments off people because they could see I was in fear, and they used to poke fun at me. And it is maybe it's trans hate, where they see a trans girl off balance and they like to poke fun, you know. But what they don't realise is the more they poke fun, the higher my glutamate levels go, the more fear I feel, the more stressed out I get. And it leads to a huge anxiety that requires medication. But what I think a part of this is sort of stepping around triggers, because I read Teal Swan's book, The Completion Process, and it said to go into triggers, and so I did. And when I was going into my triggers, I found myself being rude. I was really staring at this girl. And it was okay because there were two men there, and he said he is staring at her. And as I walked away, I said, I'm letting in all my triggers. And when I came back in, he says, gosh, what he said, you know, so it's all good. But I feel that a huge part of not being offended by what people say is just stepping around that trigger. If I can step around that trigger, then what's going to come to me is the reality of, like, that when people speak, they don't mean anything super harmful, you know. And I feel the energy. I feel the energy of what I'm saying, and it comes from a place of extreme pain, because before I started taking clonazepam, which I literally freaked out in my doctors, and she gave me clonazepam. 2 or 3 months before that, my glutamate levels were up. I was getting a lot of comments, and because my glutamate levels were up, my mind wasn't balanced, and I took everything that people said in like a bad way. And don't get me wrong, I mean, some people do take advantage of that, and they do mean things in a bad way, but it was a case of like people would say harmless things, and I would take offense. So where I'm coming from is actually a space of quite some pain, because imagine my reality, which for the last 2 or 3 months was that whenever I went out, whenever I went on a bus, be it real or not, what people were saying and the way it was hurting me, be it real or not, I was being tortured, and that's a space that I'm coming from, and what I see now is that, I mean, like I say, I only get this kind of anxiety about once a year, which is really, really, I mean, like, it could be a lot worse. It could be like, um, sort of hypomania or mania or something like that, where like there is always a problem of this kind. I'm so blessed to like only go through this once a year, and like I can just take clonazepams, which are like a short-term solution to the problem. They won't give them to me long term. And I've found that smoking medical weed really helps as well. Should probably stay away from coffee as well, but you know, um, I didn't. I didn't. So what's open to me now is um, a doorway into appreciating comments that I get. I mean, I think some of it is kids. They come from a space where they would find it strange and shocking to find that when they speak and they say something that they mean in a good way, for somebody to take it to be like nasty. And it's not just kids, it's everyone. I'm not ageist, but I'm walking through a doorway where I'm going to start to be able to, you see, because there's a lot of pleasure that is to be got from comments that people make, that there is a lot of pleasure in that. It can really make my day, it really can. And it's about love, it's about loving people, and I think there's something very relevant that I want to say here, because I isolated myself for 3 years, and when I'm isolated and I don't speak to anyone all week, any comment from anyone hurts, because it's really quite simple. I'm not talking to anyone. I'm not having a conversation with anyone. And if someone it's a shock when someone speaks to me directly, and I've stayed away from people for 3 years. It's a big shock, and it kind of takes the form of like, oh, this has to be abuse. And what I'm getting to is that I do shop mobility, I do the cathedral. I want to start working at the hospital as well. I met a friend who I saw today, stayed with her for a couple of hours. And I feel that as I start to be around people more, um, the love is going to be there quite naturally, because being close to people, it's very easy to feel that love. It's very easy to um, love on those people and find their good qualities and really appreciate their presence. And I feel that although I just want to be able to understand what people's comments are, I feel that's not really the right way to go about it. What I need to do is I need to do more voluntary work. I need to have more friends as well. I need to get close to people. I mean, I don't feel ready to have a lover at the moment because I've stayed away from people for 3 years and it takes time to get back in there. But like, um, what I want to do is I want to start loving on people again, because in my depression, and I've it's I feel it's necessary for me to explain what a dark period I've been through. I mean, some call it a dark night of the soul, but I've been, like I say, I've been completely alone. Um and I want to be really vulnerable here, which is that I've stayed away from triggers, and that's partly the reason why um I didn't want to engage in any like social groups or anything like that, because if I got triggered, I've explained the place I was coming from with people and how, like, because I'm on my own, if someone triggers me, I take it as offensive, when really what it is that my mind has forgotten how to interact with people. So what would happen is I would get triggered, and it would keep me away from social groups and whatnot and things like that. And what I'm saying is I just want to get back into my life. I want to get back into people. Um, and I I want to fall in love. Um, but like I say, I'm not ready. I have to learn how to trust people. I have to learn how to trust people, because um, you could meet someone and they could just rob you, They could just be a malicious, because like I've had a lot of friends who are thieves, and all they want to do is just take my money. And it is true. These are facts, and it's done me a lot of damage when it comes to wanting to connect with people, because I've been alone for 3 years, and mixing with people like that did damage it did damage to me, and it made me feel even more that people can't be trusted, and that I just couldn't engage with people. But like, yeah, I think I've said what I want to say. I just want to get into people. I want to get into people. I want to enjoy people. And what I want is my sanity back, because sanity is when someone speaks and I understand what it is that they're saying, and it's about really, really enjoying the things that people say, feeling that love. Um, and so I'm well on my way. I've been doing shop mobility, which is voluntary work, for about 3 or 4 months. Helped me amazingly. Now I'm doing the cathedral, want to do the hospital as well. And just want to use like, because work is like a safe environment to like meet people, because there's like a routine to it. You go to work, you're around people, you feel safe with them. There's no pressure to like to do anything more, if I'm not ready, go for a drink afterwards or anything like that. There's no pressure. And it's very safe, and it's a good place to start. And I've really enjoyed telling my story, because I'm I'm transgender, and I feel that being trans made me want to stay away from everyone, all the cis people, because I've been hurt. Like I say, I've had 3 lots of friends who have all been users, and it taught me that all cis people, this is completely false, but this is what it taught me, is that all cis people are users, and if there's a trans girl about, the cis people will just try and take advantage of her and try and take her money. And I just felt unsafe to start a relationship with anyone. And as you can see, my life has turned around completely. I'm confident, and I'm positive, and I want my fucking life back. I want my fucking life back. And there's like a human need to be able to see people. I mean, obviously this is the right people. If I choose the right people, I can really love on them. And that's what I'm all about. So I'm going to end this video here. I hope you found it interesting. I certainly enjoyed running through all the ideas that I've been through, telling my story. It's got a very positive note that, like, I've been alone for 3 years, but now my life is coming back together, quite gradually. I mean, I don't want to take on too much too soon, but things are coming together, and I can see like a beginning of like a life, a happy life, employment, friends, a lover, everything. And the main thing that I see is because being social is good for depression, I can see myself with a high mood, um, being very happy all the time. And I'll tell you something else. What I've been through in the last little while has opened up my emotions. I can feel my emotions more now. When I'm sat in my flat, and I'm on my own, it used to be agony. It used to be agony all the time I was here, and now because what that is that's when there are no emotions, there's no pleasure, there's no happiness. When there are no emotions, life is torture. And now, with the changes that I'm making in my life, my emotions are coming back. I even feel anger sometimes. But like I say, I've got to use that anger to talk to people. Say, look, was your intention X, Y, or Z? I'm really unhappy with what you did. And start a dialogue and do it that way. But like I say, anger is something that's new to me, so I've got to get used to it. Anyway, I've got to end this video because I don't think it'll upload if I make it longer than half an hour. So love you all, and I hope that if you're struggling, to get back into a social situation, I hope you do it. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.